Welcome to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. I'm your host, Hannah O'Brien, both a veteran spouse and the program manager for the Veteran Spouse Network. On each episode of our show, I will host different guests to learn more about the stories, unmet needs, and resources available to our military and veteran families. We're the show that's making space for your stories, so that here you know you're never alone. Welcome back to the Veteran Spouse Network podcast. In today's episode, we're exploring what it really means to support the people who are often supporting everyone else. At the Veteran Spouse Network, we've long recognized the importance of peer connection. It can be one of the most powerful sources of support for those navigating military and veteran family life. I certainly know it was for me, and is. But today we're going to take it a little step further, exploring what happens when connection is paired with intentional, holistic practices that support how we show up, adapt, and sustain ourselves over time. So I'm really excited to welcome Cathy and Jackie, the co-founders of the Restored Heart Collective, who built their organization from their own shared experiences and a belief in the combined power of connection and whole person support. So, Cathy and Jackie, now I get to turn it over to you. I'd love to hear kind of you each do a little intro to share about yourselves, your families, your connection to this community, and maybe like how you guys met. I think that could be fun to hear.
Sure. I'll start by introducing myself, who I am, all that good stuff. My name is Cathy Turner. I have been living with a spouse, married to for the past 17 years. I am a yoga instructor. I'm a nutrition coach. I'm also a health teacher by day, and have been really thrilled to be on this journey of co-founding the Restored Heart Collective with Jackie.
And I'm Jackie Boychak. I am mom of two teenage girls and married to my wonderful husband for 18 years. He almost 18 years. We were married before he went into the military. He went in as through officer candidate school. We got to move quite a bit and lived in Alaska. That was like my main claim to fame is like we lived in North Pole, Alaska, and it was amazing. If you get the chance to be stationed in Alaska, go do it. It's cold, it's dark, but like it was the best thing ever. My husband was deployed during COVID while I was teaching with our daughters who were, in elementary school at the time. So, and he deployed with the National Guard. So we were not attached to a unit at that point, not in a military community. And I had never felt so alone in my entire life. Part of that was my choice because I felt like it was easier to just not ask for help, especially like having to explain to people why you need help. I did have a really great friend at that time who brought me groceries, like just unannounced. She would just drop off like a rotisserie chicken and salad bags, which were the way to my heart. Um, and then he came home, and things really changed for us. And I found myself as a completely different person than I had been and who I really ever wanted to be. And fast forward a little bit to a soldier, one of my husband's old soldiers came to visit us, and he brought a friend named Will. And Will had just gone through a 41-day program at Heroes and Horses in Montana for combat veterans. And it had completely changed his life and convinced my husband that he should apply because it was great. It changed his life. Um, that application didn't open for like 8 more months. And my husband did it. He actually applied, he got selected. Um, as he was getting ready to leave, there was an opportunity for some of the wives to do a 6-week online course with the chance to go out to Montana at the end. And I was like, I don't need that. I'm fine. You're the problem. And he wore me down. And I was like, well, he's asking, so let me just do this because it's important to him. So I'm going to do it. And 30 minutes in, I was a freaking mess. And you can't see me, but I've already been crying. Like already on this call, I've been crying. But it opened my eyes to how much I had shifted my life away from who I was in my core. Um, and made me realize how I had like changed our marriage and the trajectory of our relationship by doing those things. So fast forward, I was selected to go to Montana. And while my husband was in Montana, he met Cathy's husband, John. He was a leader in my husband's class. So I got to go up to Cathy's house in the yurt and see all the animals because they have like all these critters. They have like a full farm. It's like truly astounding the homestead that they have built for themselves. But Cathy wasn't there. And I was like, oh, bummer. I was like, but maybe I'll meet her in Montana. So we kind of had like our antennas up for each other as we were looking, like, is she on my flight? Am I gonna find her at the airport? Sure enough, we found each other in the Bozeman airport and like instantly had like this heart connection. Like probably started as like this East Coast and our husbands knew each other thing, but very quickly developed into this gorgeous friendship, like sisterhood.
Yeah.
Truly, we joked while we were in Montana that we wanted to bring a version of Heroes and Horses to the East Coast because we just felt like this was a light that it needed to be illuminated across the country for spouses because it was unlike anything we had ever found. Um, and Cathy made us good on that promise to each other. And about a month after going to the ranch, she texted me, which turned into an immediate phone call, and we haven't we haven't stopped since. It was, I think, everything that we have been doing for the past however many years we've been on this planet have led us to this place in our lives of Cathy's amazing different aspects that she is this fabulous yoga instructor and she does this gorgeous meditation and she leads us through these mindfulness experiences and the experiences that she had that has led us here and then my experiences melding together have created a truly transformational experience for spouses to come together and build community.
Amazing. I'm curious to hear. So, and then if you weren't making those connections, listeners, that's how we came to the Restored Heart Collective. But what about that experience? Like you were like, we wanted to, this was so meaningful. We wanted to bring this outside of just this one organization in Montana. Like what were you connecting with that was like, this needs to be available to more people? Like what was happening that felt important?
Well, I want to, Jackie shared how her husband thought it was important for Jackie to go out and experience this spouse community that was out in at the ranch. And for me, when my husband went away, he was gone for 41 days. Throughout that time, I kept feeling like, oh my gosh, he's going to come back. There was something in me that knew that this was the thing.
Mm.
And he had tried so many things, and there's a lot out there, luckily, for veterans and military people to utilize and put towards their healing. And I knew that this one was different. I watched they had a video at the time posted of what the men were going to be going through. And I had this kind of sinking feeling in my gut going, oh my gosh, he's going to come back transformed. And I am in the same place. And then what? And it felt really scary for me. And it felt really alone. And I didn't know how to transverse that. I just didn't know what to do. So in the past, I had been looking for other things that could support me in understanding that no, I am not crazy, and no, I am not alone. But what is it? Where is that piece? And I knew that when he came back, I was really yearning for an experience similar to that. And so when we were able to go out and have that kind of physical experience of being among each other and being around other spouses who understood,
Mm-hmm.
that was the secret
Mm-hmm.
sauce. And that piece is what I wanted to shout to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, Jackie was right there with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was um mm, being at the ranch was really, really challenging. For a while, their tagline was, "This is not a vacation, not a vacation." It was definitely not a vacation. And when we refer to what we're doing, it's hard to find the right word. And so we've kind of used retreat, but that doesn't really encompass what we're doing either. It was, the experiences were really raw. We're staring into each other's eyes, bearing the deepest pieces of our soul. Um, I think I think one of the things that was the most impactful for me at the ranch was I went to the ranch as myself. Maybe for the first time in my life, without a mask on. I was not there to perform. I was not there to make a friend. I really wasn't. Because at the point where I was in my healing journey, I had recognized that, oh shit, you have work to do. Um, and very similarly to Cathy, like my husband came home and there were a lot of shifts that he was starting to make. And it was very clear that I also needed to be on that journey as well. So showing up to this experience as me opened the floodgates for friendships with women that like I had never experienced before because they saw who I was in my core, and I really did not hold back. I said this already, I'm a crier, but like the amount of crying I did, like it got to day 5 and I was like, there's nothing left. I've given it
Uh,
all.
yeah.
Um, and we wanted to bring that. We wanted to bring those experiences and the shared hardship of going through a really hot sauna for a long time and then
Mhm.
getting in a cold plunge, maybe for the first time ever, and having to go through that mental battle together, linking arms hand in hand with other women. And that's truly what we did. We held hands through the tears in a sauna of our own experience with these women in last May, and we watched them go through it in the cold plunge, and they comforted each other. They wrapped their arms around each other and looked deeply into each other's eyes as they were sharing these stories and signaling to each other like, I have been there and I understand. And
Mhm.
I those are the pieces that we want to bring home with us, and that is what we have successfully been able to replicate.
Excellent. And then, okay, so for everyone who's listening who's like, oh my gosh, okay, we got women in a sauna and a cold plunge looking into each other's eyes. Let's back up for a second and give let's give the elevator pitch. What is Restored Heart Collective? We'll use retreat. Maybe by the end of this we'll come up with the right word. Who knows?
Yeah.
We've been workshopping it with
Yeah.
Oh,
the
please.
ladies.
I'll be
Yes.
tagging along as I listen.
Great. Good. Let us know.
But yeah, give our listeners, what are you guys doing? What did you do this last month? And what are you going to be continuing to do in this work? What does this look like?
So, the Restored Heart Collective is a space where women come together to build community. And that means coming together, being present, sitting next to each other, journaling next to each other, sharing ideas, being in a shared space. While we're in that shared space, some might call it a retreat, we are moving through modalities that help the women understand the nervous system, understand what these triggers are and what they might be actually feeling in their body. We help them identify those flags. And then once they identify that, we start to break those down. Um, when those things are broken down, we help these women start to kind of build themselves up and understand what they're feeling, why, and then how to move through it.
Mhm.
So, in reference to the sauna or the cold plunge, somebody standing on the edge of cold water might all of a sudden just go way up into the top of their head, and tears come, and uh, all of this emotion could happen. And we're standing there right next to them to talk them through that. And we're either educating along with them as we're stepping into the cold water, or we are doing it during and even after. We have conversations about what came up and how do we move through a difficult thing the next time. So it's embodiment in practice.
Mm.
This time that we spend together, we're sharing meals. We're sharing anti-inflammatory meals, which we can talk about later in a little bit more detail. But we are walking together, we're hiking together, we're creating movement, we're being outside, we're sitting around a campfire, we're drinking tea. All of these experiences we are doing together in a remote space, a lot in nature. So we have that immersion in nature. We put our phones away and we are just very, very present,
Mhm.
all in the hopes of um, creating this community so that when they leave and go home, they have people to call, they have people to talk to, they have people even just to send a text, say, hey, I'm having a hard time, or hey, I'm having the best day ever. Can I share this with you?
Mhm.
And so that now the women who are in each cohort can continue on through the hard things, knowing who they are and knowing that they have somebody out to reach out to.
Incredible. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, if we'll come up with the word, but let's say, well, there are other retreats out there. Peer support is obviously out
Mhm.
there. I think it's really interesting though that, and that's clearly, Jackie, what you were talking about too, that you
Mhm.
linked onto was that connection of this like shared
Absolutely.
understanding
Yeah.
that made you guys want to do this. So I'm curious, what led you to want to pair that with this nervous system
Mhm.
education and doing some of these physical activities together? Because I think that's what makes this really unique is how you guys have woven these things together
Mhm.
with this connection and peer support. So like where did that come from? Like what made you guys think this is it, this is
Mhm.
important, and this is going to benefit these spouses?
I think that through our own experience of working through being in a similar, like a peer support cohort that's virtual prior, going and being in person and going through these different modalities, and then being like a year plus post of still implementing these tools in our lives, of knowing the change. Cathy and I have chatted about where we both were in our marriages before our husbands went to Heroes and Horses, before we started on this, on our own healing journey to where we are now. I will speak for myself. I feel that there are elements of me that I'm a completely different person than who I was prior. And that is what we wanted to bring because this is our experience that we know works. I, when I came back from the ranch, I also dove into the book, The Body Keeps a Score,
Yep,
which is incredible and long. And it talks
read
all
it.
about how, the different ways to treat PTSD, right? And it talks a lot about how therapy is good, but maybe not enough. And it goes into trauma-informed yoga, and it goes into the sauna and cold plunge, and it goes into meditation and breath work, and all these things that we're doing. That's for me one of the driving forces, right? Because there's so much research behind this all like working. And being able to post retreat recognize those old patterns that you've been in and now have the tools to break that cycle. So I think for both of us, that was the driving force in why we wanted to pair both of them. So they do, multiple weeks together virtually before the experience, in-person experience. And it's also like we're extending past the weekend. So our next retreat is going to be 3 days instead of two because it just wasn't enough with the goal of getting to potentially a week. But we also are following them for the year. We are continuing meeting once a month. We have our, constant chatter of WhatsApp group. Um, with this slow, gradual release upon themselves because we didn't want it to be we're building you up, we're having this great experience, and then bye, see you later. We knew it needed to be long term. Um, and we needed to be able to understand the impact 6 months, a year down the line. Because if it's not working, what are we doing? Right? And how are we making actual change in this community if we're not sticking with this and continuing this work post a retreat?
That's amazing. Then yes, everyone, that's a really, really good book. I recommend a lot. So if
Hmm.
you're listening, go pick it up. Um, so I think some of this you talked about not kind of dropping them, which I think is so critical, right? Because yeah, we can have a
Hmm.
great time and we can learn all the skills, but
Hmm.
are we actually using them? And how are, things come up in life, and it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to talk about it with people that you've already built up a connection and trust with. I'm curious, like, just to give up kind of folks a taste of like, what is something that you're teaching them look like once they're home? Like, like when something you were talking about, when you maybe see these old patterns or something come up, now you have a different set of tools. Like,
Hmm.
can you give us a little like taste or example of how people are kind of using what they're learning in this setting in real life? Maybe not, I mean, or how you hope they are, since we're fresh off the retreat, so you might not know for real yet.
So I'm sorry, Kathy, if you want to share, okay, great. Because I just had a really great conversation with one of our ladies yesterday, and I'm not going to share her name. But and I'm also going to try really hard not to cry. So like no promises, you know. We were talking yesterday about how she had been reflecting upon the experience and how she had recognized that she really lost herself being a mom and being a spouse, and how being able to go away for the couple days was the catalyst to her starting her life again. Um, and it's only been, like a month now since then. In this past month, she has made shifts, not crazy things, but she's shifted different aspects of her life. She's able to finally see herself coming back alive. Like she put aside all the things that brought her joy because she was so devoted to being a mother. She was so devoted to being their number one and like their everything, that she lost herself. And being able to step away for the couple days and remember who she was gave her the kick in the booty that she needed to start back on this path of finding herself again. And we were talking again the other day about, like you still are a devoted mother. You still are all of those things. You just now are filling your cup so that you can pour from your cup. And that was a really big realization for her that she might not have had if she hadn't had that moment to step away and prioritize herself.
I think there's such magic in the shared feminine experience and the things that come up the minute you take some time for yourself and you walk out of the door with the only mission to go take care of yourself and tend to yourself for a few days.
Hmm.
And whatever tools that we offer, what we pour into our weekend experiences are all there for the taking. But the minute a woman is surrounded by other women who are all kind of more or less saying the same thing. I lost myself. I forgot who I was. I just need time. I love my family so much. We all can agree. And from that, we can all lift each other up and know that it's not just me that's feeling
Hmm.
this. The power to know and walk away that I am not the only one is just so enormous.
Hmm.
The power of the group is second to none. It's really
Hmm.
magic.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
before they come to us, we are spending a couple weeks with them virtually, and we're doing having some really hard conversations and asking them to be very introspective and dig into the different layers of how they got here, right? And through that, they start to recognize their patterns and what they've been doing and how they've been putting themselves aside. So they have those tools. Now they're aware. So it's easier for them post experience, post weekend intensive to say, "Oh, whoa, I'm doing that thing again. I'm putting myself last, or I'm doing whatever it is." Now they can recognize it where they maybe never put it into words before, or they never took the moment. I know for me, I never took the moment to even recognize that my husband was trying to help me, but I kept saying no. Can I get groceries? No, I'm fine. Can I make dinner? No, it's fine. Can I get the
Mhm.
girls? No. Why? Why are you doing that? Why are you saying no? That's so lame. But I don't think that we give ourselves the moment to really understand why we're showing up in the world in the way that we are until somebody starts to ask us and forces us into those journal prompts, forces us into those breakout rooms in a really small conversation. And that's part of the tools, right, that we're doing to then give them the ability to stop and be like, "Well, nope, this is not me anymore. I don't want to be that person."
Yeah, that's
I like
interesting.
to
And
call it our own, I like to call it our own situational awareness of, okay, our husbands, our partners walk into a room and we know what they do, right? They look for the exits. They look for all the all the stuff. And what we are passing on to the women who move through our program is their own situational awareness. When they
Mhm.
go, oh, I'm doing that thing. I learned about this thing, and now I'm going to stop it, or I'm going to pivot because I can hear and I have had the time to identify what my habits are.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's the money right there. Because yeah, the peer connection happens, and then kind of also what I'm naturally once you get people in the room and they start to understand they have those similar experiences and they can share and it's safe. And then
Mhm.
I think what I'm hearing from y'all too, which is interesting, is that some of these practices you've embedded in this are kind of, I don't know, like facilitating this like deeper level of self-awareness or just kind of taking them out of a comfort zone, I imagine, to some degree. And
The
that
Mm-hmm.
sauna,
yeah,
the
that
cold
Yeah.
different
plunge.
things
Yeah.
might come up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is I don't
Yeah.
know, that's just what I'm hearing and what I'm thinking I would probably experience myself.
Sounds
Um
like you need to come. I mean, we have a retreat in October on Lake George. We're doing a cold plunge
Okay.
in the lake. It's going to be amazing.
I believe
Like,
it. I believe it. But I'd love like so tell I want to hear we've heard you guys are sharing so much great stuff. What were some of the some moments where you really saw like things kind of getting past that surface level? And like what do you think I mean, like you said, some of it is just like the natural power of women and our energy and connecting
Mm-hmm.
together. But where maybe you saw some of, I hope you saw some of the work that you guys are doing, really being thoughtful
mhm,
with how you're connecting pre what you guys are doing during, helping them do these different facilitated activities together and those sorts of things. How are you seeing those things impact in a way that maybe surprised you or maybe said, yep, this was exactly what we were hoping for?
I
Well,
want, go ahead, Kathy. You can go
I'd
first.
say- um, I first of all, I want to say that people get out what they put in.
Mhm.
Or we never want to say, you come on Friday, you're going to be a brand new person on Sunday. We are not making that claim. What we
Mhm,
are doing is providing the space for these women to show up and do the work.
mhm,
And we all know the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. And boy, did our ladies show up. And
mhm,
we expect everybody to continue to show up. In the same way that Jackie said in the beginning, when we went through our first experience, we weren't looking for friends. We weren't looking for anything other than to work on ourselves. And I believe we saw the same thing happened in May at our retreat, where we had women come in um, ready, maybe a little apprehensive. We had this beautiful 4 weeks prior on a Zoom, just connecting that way. But when they walked in and they were able to look at each other and have real conversations and sip tea together, I'm going to speak for myself. I could watch just the expressions change on their faces. I'm a body watcher. I could see, I'm a yoga teacher. I could see the shoulders drop. I can see the body kind of loosen up. Our dinners became this just joyful event of conversation and introspection. Um, to the minute that these ladies left, we were able to reflect on all of the work that they did individually. It all looked different. But at the end, the smiles and the warm hearts that they had from looking at each other deeply in the eye and saying, I truly love and care for you.
Mhm.
And it's been 48 hours.
Yeah.
That feeling, in addition to the visual, just that heart swell that you know that they are walking back into the world as this reconnected person is just a gift that I was hoping for,
Mhm.
but to experience was just incredible.
Yeah. It's funny because I would like reach over and squeeze Kathy because like you can see it. You can see it when it happens, really, when the breakthrough, when they let down the walls and they succumb to like the situation or whatever we're going through. And honestly think that speaks to the intentionally crafted schedule that we have. It's, something that we really poured our hearts into, is creating different experiences layered upon each other that would encourage those walls to drop a little bit faster because it was a very short, very, very short. I don't even think it was 48 hours.
I don't
Um,
think so.
but it was crazy because we did so much. There were so many different pieces that we were able to layer together to create this beautiful experience of just like raw and openness. Um, Now, with that being said, I think we both learned a lot from that experience, from the women that came, from the different things in our schedule that will be fluid as we move forward. I think that there's always going to be certain pieces that will be like staples for us.
Yeah.
The sauna, the cold plunge, the yoga, those are staples in what we're doing. Um, so I'm excited to just like be on this journey with Kathy and all of these women as we grow, as we continue. We're bringing in another facilitator in October. So there's going to be three of us. And it's just going to continue to be this magical experience where we're giving women different experiences. We're introducing them to things that they've probably never heard of or done before. And it might be a little weird and it's gonna be a little woo-woo, but you have to lean in, right?
Yeah.
Because all of this woo-woo stuff, it's rooted in science. Like it
Mm.
feels weird and it doesn't seem mainstream, but we can show you all the research.
Yeah.
We promise.
You can dig in if you want.
Yeah, we've got it.
No.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, y'all are like perfectly moving through my question guide. I love it. Just like naturally answering everything. Because yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, I heard the very logistical thing of not enough time, which as someone who does trainings and we do retreats for our peer leaders, yes, that is also the thing we always find is not enough time, not enough time.
Mhm.
Any other just like big takeaways that really affirmed what you guys were doing or something that you're excited to change up or try or even just explore in general, whether it's for the next one or beyond from what you from
I would say I'm very much looking forward to inviting other facilitators into
Mhm.
our fold. We have such a great network of very incredible
Mhm.
women who are just so knowledgeable and understand our group, our mission, our vision. And I think to incorporate more voices is always a good
Mhm.
thing. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
also super excited because Kathy and I are continuing our own education.
Yeah.
We both are super passionate about this work. So we are, exploring and working with other facilitators to hone our own craft. The long-term goal is our own location
Mm.
because right now we're mobile, which is beautiful because we get to go to all these different spaces and be closer to other pockets of women who might not have had access prior. But the long-term goal is to build this space that perfectly fits our needs. Like we have a fabulous sauna company that we're working with, and they've already committed to going to our next one, which is fantastic. But like, we want to build our sauna. We want to
Yeah.
have a spring-fed pond because I don't think I could ever cold plunge in anything but a pond ever again. That's how like magical it was when we were in, Vermont. So we are just starting this journey. It's going to be a really long, magical transformational experience, not just for the women, but like it's transforming our own lives, like my own family's life and the way that they show up in the world, and the way that I interact with my gorgeous partner, Kathy. Like it's just truly this divine experience that again, like we were predestined for.
Mhm.
Thanks, universe.
Yeah. High five.
Yeah, right?
Did good. You did good. Um, so I mean, I think that leads nicely into thinking you guys long term. So if you have something coming up in October, like how, I mean, obviously the stuff, I can't imagine how much work this takes. So you might not have in your mind a known cadence down, but like people who are listening are like, oh yes, I want this, I want in. What do they need to know about how to get involved, how frequently we might see these opportunities, that sort of thing?
They're coming. So October 16th to 19th on Lake George at the Weewaka Women's Center. Oh, excuse me, the Weewaka Center for Women. Um, I truly hope this could be a repeat location for us because I'm from New York. So, and Kathy's from Vermont. It is
Yeah.
beautiful in October. The
Mm.
leaves stunning. So to be in the lower Adirondacks on Lake George, it's just going to be the most peaceful, pristine place. So right
Mm.
now, this is year one. We're doing 2 retreats. Year two is we're going to do three: spring, summer, fall. Year three, four. We're going to do a winter one because where are winter girls at? And
Yeah.
growing with the length because we know that the magic is not 2 days.
Yeah.
It was magical, but
Yes.
Hmm.
we need
And
more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
The best way to keep up with us is I think our Instagram is our most has all of our information on there, but also signing up for our newsletter. Kathy does this fantastic newsletter once a month. It's got all of our links, it's got our merch, it's got updates, pictures. It's just, she does such a great job. I'm so glad it's her and not me because it's
Wow.
just,
there you
I
go.
am not a word person, a
Uh,
word wizard, but she just does such a beautiful job. And I'm so grateful for her.
uh,
But
but
right
wait,
now, the applications, oh, go ahead.
inversely, oh, come on. I gotta shout out. You are
Oh, okay.
amazing. Okay, let's talk about the Instagram because that is equally
Such a pain.
gorgeous
Thank
and
you.
well curated um, piece of art that you do. Come
Oh,
on,
I
Jackie.
love you so much.
Wow, so good. I love you too.
So we have an application. Um, there is a link in our bio of our Instagram, which will take you to the application. The application is also this really cute little button that bounces on the homepage of our website. Our website designer, Nick, really loves us. Thanks, Nick. And the application, the application has quite a few questions on it, and it asks you to be ready, to be open, and to be raw with what brought you here. Um,
Mhm.
because this is hard work. I know we keep saying work, but it's challenging to dig in and to uncover your
Mhm.
layers and come face to face with yourself. So we ask that you're ready to start this healing journey. Um, we intentionally choose a small group of women between 12 and 15 to join us. We feel like it to be a true community, it does need to be on the smaller side so that those relationships are authentic and meaningful long term. Um, yeah. Did I miss anything?
I think that sums it up.
And I think that's one I just love because yeah, I think there are so many things out there, and there's space for this and value in the fun retreat or
Mhm.
the night out or whatever. I believe in that too.
Hmm.
But I think you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you guys are hitting them with that on the application
Hmm.
because you you know what you're trying to achieve. You know what it's
Hmm.
real, it's authentic. Like, and we know, just as you guys know, that so much of what members of our community are going through is challenging.
Hmm.
So if we want to see an impact, we've got to be ready to get in there about it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I also ask that if anybody is maybe on the fence or curious
Mm.
about what it is that we are doing and what we're asking of the people who are showing up or filling out the application, reach out.
Hmm.
You know, they can DM us on Instagram or all the places. They can send us a message, send us an email so that we can have an honest conversation. It could be daunting, thinking about stepping into this world,
Hmm.
or sitting down to fill out the application. And I am here, and Jackie is here to say, like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel 100%, let's see how we can support you so that you do and you can make this move for yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think it's important to just say we started really trying to focus on veteran spouses. But we very quickly learned that this is a need across every every military spouse. Whether you are a partner, whether you were married and are divorced now or separated, like this still includes you. Um, and yes, while our application asks you to be very open, I I really like to share the story of how I got here. Remember? I was fine,
Yeah.
guys. I was fine. I had nothing to fix. So I think like I think that while yes, this is like we are focusing on the military community, veterans. I also feel like this is such a, a female experience, especially like a mom experience of like losing yourself, that I know that what we are doing is applicable to so
Mhm.
many more people that maybe might not even give themselves the opportunity. So when in doubt,
Hmm.
I still say apply. Just
Yeah.
try it
Yeah.
out. What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
Nothing.
So true, so true. And actually, I always love to end like podcasts by like asking like what's one piece of wisdom, and I think I'm really latching on to what you just said, Kathy, or Jackie, sorry, which is the the people that what you're seeing come up and what you're seeing people challenging as their challenge is this loss of self, loss of identity, or loss of understanding their priorities and what makes them who they are. So we're talking to that person. And so maybe, I mean, obviously, yes, sign up, right? That we know, sign up. Bite the bullet, do it. But
Yeah.
outside of that, what's something you little piece of wisdom, lessons learned in your life that you would say to someone who's feeling that way right now, who might be listening? If you can.
Let's see. My little piece of wisdom for somebody who's feeling a little apprehensive is I think surprising yourself can be really fun. And you can never know what's around that corner. When you jump into something that's brand new, it can feel vulnerable. And like Jackie said, what do you have to lose? Not much. But what do you have to gain is a new understanding of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's going on around you may continue. Everything, all the things when you go home that may continue, but how you can discover ways that you can change yourself
Mm-hmm.
and grow and connect with your own ideas, your or deeper ideas, and let those come through, that can be such a huge change that you don't even see coming.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie shares a beautiful story about how she connects with her daughters. I'll let her say that. But I have these different ways of how I connect with the world around me, how I move through the world, how I connect with the cashier at the grocery store, how I move with the person who is like cutting me off in the in
Yes.
the car. Like all of these little
Yeah.
things are moments
Mm-hmm.
of me going, oh my gosh, I have this whole new outlook on life and understanding of myself, from just jumping in and leaning in and saying yes to myself.
Mm-hmm. I can't follow that.
Come
It was like
on.
all the things. It was all the things. I mean, I
What she should.
ditto, ditto, but like I really truly agree. I feel like we put ourselves in these boxes
Mm,
and we have really no understanding of what could be on the other side of this box that we put ourselves in. And I, I think that we have to get out of our own way.
yeah.
And like Kathy said, just take the chance. And I always say lean in, just lean in. Like it's gonna be different, right? But that's okay.
Mm,
And you might love it. I think the first time I cold plunge, I thought I was gonna die. And now my husband and I cold plunge as a date night once a week. Um, so I say, what have you got to lose? You
mm,
know, because you have everything to gain.
mhm.
Um, So yeah, and I mean, after listening to us, really, you're worried? Come on, come on.
Should all be
Um,
sold.
and I'm sure we have plenty of the participants who would love to talk to you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They truly are such a fantastic group of women who probably felt a lot like you did before they applied. So if you need a little push, we're here. We would
Yeah.
love to chat with you. Yes, but DM us. That's the
Yeah.
best way.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Here to chat.
Always.
Well, guys, thank you so much. I think, this is really something unique that I haven't seen before in this kind of, in the space, the kind of spaces you guys are pulling together,
Mm.
that maybe we've seen in other avenues, and very needed. So I'm glad to see y'all doing it. Um, I didn't go. I'll sign up soon. But we did have a peer leader. I already told Jackie and Cathy, but one of our peer leaders already reached out and was like, "Oh my God, this was amazing! And how do I tell everybody about this?" So, if you guys know us as BSN and trust our peer leaders, one of them went and wants to tell everybody about it. So there's that endorsement as well. And I hope that
Thank you.
if you're listening and you're curious, go check them out. I really appreciate you guys being on and telling us your own stories about
Mm,
how you came here and then about the experiences that you've seen this first time. And I really am excited to see where you guys go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
And
Absolutely.
we are going to be so excited to tell you more in 5 years.
There we go. Yeah, yes. We'll come
Scheduling our
back
next podcast.
on, and there will be like 10 a year. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know. 10 a year. Wow.
That
We're
sounds,
still
that does sound
full-time
insane. That
teachers
does
as
sound insane.
well.
I take it back. I'm sorry. We'll
We'll
no, but
get there.
seriously, thank y'all. And if you're listening, we thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you next month. Thanks again for joining us on the Veteran Spouse Network podcast, brought to you in collaboration with Coming Home Well. We thank you for listening today and hope today's session left you feeling a little more connected or gave you some insight into the experiences of our military and veteran families. Don't forget to check us out at veteranspousenetwork.org to learn more about how our military and veteran families can receive the support they deserve.